What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about Workhorse. It's been a while since I've given an update, so I just want to give you a good summary of what's happening behind the scenes, more so from institutions, and two big catalysts that a lot of investors really need to watch for. Before I get into any of that, making sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. With that though, let's get right to it. Live ticker is going at the very bottom, down roughly about 5.5%, give or take, 1.4 million for volume, and that is in the first 2 hours of the trading day. So it is kind of in line with the average, which is 5.1 million, and also 207,000 shares being purchased by institutions on the secondary market. So overall, it's pretty much in line with everything. Obviously, a little bit more of a tentative sell-off today, but still, there's one big catalyst that is coming out in the foreseeable future that a lot of investors really need to watch for, and that is their upcoming earnings. Tentatively set for August 8th. They have not actually officially announced it, so definitely stay tuned for that. Might be give or take a little bit before or after potentially, but most likely it will be actually after August 8th or on it, because typically a lot of companies like to give a courtesy 2 weeks kind of notice, generally speaking, for when the actual earnings are coming out. And the reason why I actually feel that their earnings is a very big catalyst is that the expectations for Workhorse is absolutely so low. If they do anything good, any good glimpses of hope, that this stock will definitely run from that. So that's how I see things, and right now the earnings per share is set for negative 13 cents. So definitely a lot of positive things that could come from this. In addition to that, there was this. So USPS, basically the one that kind of brought it down to begin with, is kind of resurging a little bit. So USPS says that 40% of the new delivery vehicles will be electric. They have not announced exactly who they're going to be doing, but they do insinuate that they're going to be buying them off the shelf, meaning that anyone who has any available, which in Workhorse's case is very beneficial and definitely could be. So both big catalysts that definitely a lot of investors really need to watch for. But overall though, there is still a lot of big things coming for Workhorse, and one of which is technically the amount of institutional purchasing happening behind the scenes. So I just want to show you this. This is under Unusual Whales, shows all of the dark pool transactions. So if you don't know what the dark pool is, it's basically an exchange designated for institutions to trade amongst each other. So on the 22nd, there was a $461,000 trade, and you can even see prior to that though, there was a lot of big money being getting in. And not only that though, the amount of actual calls being purchased, so this is updated information as of Q1, it shows 913,000 call options being held by hedge funds just in Q1. And so that's a very big deal. It is down relatively from the quarter prior, down 56%, but still I think there was a lot of negative things around Workhorse over the last little bit. So still 913,000 is still a very positive thing, and all 13 F filers have 5.4 million total call options. So clearly a lot of upside is very anticipated with Workhorse. And when it comes down to it though, the latest 13 Fs do kind of mirror exactly what that has been showing, is a lot of institutions actually have been for the most part maintaining their position, which is a very positive thing. These are relatively small fish, so keep that in mind. The big players in the game are going to be the first 2 weeks of August, so that is something that could potentially as well be a very big catalyst. Because looking on the actual chart, we have gone down a huge amount, and that's more of an understatement. Even generally speaking, from where we were, this is absolutely a huge steal. Again, that could be up to interpretation. Obviously, there's a lot of value potentially in Workhorse. It's just you have to see between the fine lines. Keep in mind though, I'm not a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But I do personally feel that it does speak volumes that institutions are buying so much and also holding so many call options. And more so on just a basic financial aspect, just want to go over several different points. One of which is just the market cap is so low. Like I said, typically lower market cap stocks, when good pieces of news do come out, it absolutely explodes. So just take that as well, depending on how you see that. And more so just looking at the basic balance sheet highlights. So right now there's 167.05 million in cash equivalents and short-term investments. Total debt is 32.81. Keep in mind, like I said, this upcoming earnings is going to play a very big part, because based on their actual how much they're burning every quarter is 128.42 million. There's a huge anticipation that they are just going to be completely burning through all all of their cash. Most likely, they only have 1 or 2 quarters left before they need to dilute. So definitely something does need to come from this, more so whether it be from USPS saves it, or a lot of big actual delivery vehicle kind of deals, whether it be with Amazon or technically even Walmart. There's a lot of big deals that's been happening over the last several months. So hopefully this does benefit Workhorse through the USPS or another company. But let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. And one additional thing I just want to share with you is looking at short information. I like to use them as a good benchmark of what's happening behind the scenes. So right now it is relatively high. So 29.31% is the actual short interest. That is, like I said, relatively high. Utilization is 100%. Short score is 80.26. The higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze occurring. Goes back to my point. If a good piece of news has come out, then potentially a squeeze could occur, because also there is 43.68 million total actual shares being shorted. Cost to borrow is relatively low, so you can see roughly about 3.93%. So definitely not going to have a squeeze in that regard. I think it's a little bit more alluring about the actual short interest and utilization. If you do have any questions about any of these and what these numbers mean, let me know in the comments below. I'll definitely address them. And all this information is available via or text. Link is in the description below. But with that though, just going to cap it off with some technical analysis. Like I said, there are some good catalysts coming forward for Workhorse that could cause this to go up, but on the actual chart I do have the 50, 100, 200-day moving averages, Bollinger Bands, RSI, stochastic, and momentum. So over recently we did get very much overbought, so this is why we're kind of pulling down a little bit. So we do still have a deviation, so red line above the black showing a little bit more of a bearish sentiment. Number of buyers is definitely down, and you can tell that based on momentum indicator. RSI is fairly flat at 49, and on the actual chart still higher percent of the Bollinger Band. We are actually going to be testing that, and actually today it does look like we did test that central Bollinger Band of around the $2.91 mark, give or take. That's exactly where we are at. So overall it does appear that the broader market is taking this down. If we do transition into lower one, then potentially new lows could come, but I feel that these two big catalyst could be the saving grace. So their earnings, depending on whenever that is or whenever they actually do announce it, and then the USPS potential deal in that regard. So very beneficial for Workhorse in my own 2 cents. With all that, let me know your thoughts on Workhorse in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. If you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that, I appreciate you guys watching, and let's all make a lot of money on Workhorse.